What if DOC never got into that car accident? What if Ice Cube didn't leave NWA? What if the game never leaves G Unit? What if Teddy Riley never moves to Virginia? What if we got that J. Cole and Kendrick album? What if the RZA would have never had that flood? How would the hip hop world sound today? Welcome to Hip Hop What Ifs, the podcast where we dive into the biggest what could have beens in hip hop history. From iconic album delays to game-changing partnerships that never happened, we reimagine the culture we love and explore its alternative paths. And you are now at Hip Hop What Ifs.
When Dre was working on Detox and everyone was asking about it, Snoop does an interview on Tim Westwood and said that Detox ain't coming out until DOC gets back in the studio with Dre.
Yeah.
And that never happened?
Yeah, we did. Yeah, I did.
You worked on
came
Detox?
back out. Yeah, I came back out in 2005 and started working on Detox with Dre, but he wasn't ready. You know what I mean? He wasn't ready. We were doing songs with a kid named Slim the Mobster.
Yeah, I know Slim.
And those early records were really good, and we were working with a myriad of other young writers, and the work was good. I don't think Dre knew exactly what direction he wanted to go in, or really knew what it was, he wanted to do. So, none of it ever came out. A lot of it got leaked, and then that really pissed the dude off.
Yeah.
And so he went back underground after that,
And it never came out.
Yeah. And I stayed around here until 2009, and we had another big to do, and so I was gone again. Went back to Texas.
Welcome back to Hip Hop What Ifs, the show where we discuss everything in hip hop in a what if fashion of what things could happen or not happen. I'm with my illustrious host, Kyle. 12 Kyle, what is going on, my brother?
Chilling, man. What's good? What's happening? What's cracking?
I'm good, man. We would shout out to everybody, man. People have been like really checking in, man. Man, we appreciate it for real. Like people
No
have been really
doubt.
checking out the stuff, man. A lot. I've been seeing a lot of older cats checking in, which is good. I'm nothing wrong with the older brothers jumping in. We here for y'all. We in y'all club. So
right.
I do not like y'all going back with revisionist history from '87. Like, no, can't. So I don't know if you've seen. So now there's a new battle in our shorts.
Oh,
over really? The Bridge Wars. So
yes.
Now it's some brothers discussing the Bridge Wars, saying, Karis once set up Shan. I don't know where some of these brothers is from. Maybe they be from Queensbridge. I don't know. But some of them are very passionate about the Bridge War still.
Hey man, listen. It wasn't until I got older that I realized how serious that war was. Like to the point where, and I don't even know if we talked about it in the episode, but like people from Queens couldn't go to the Bronx, people from the Bronx couldn't go to Queens. Like it was that serious. And like there's still people our age and a little bit younger of the same of Generation X. If you play, the bridge is over, like they gonna feel away. They just do.
Nas even said like it took him till he was like 15 and 16 to even like sit there and listen to it.
Yeah, man. I mean, so like it's they took it personal, literally. And you got to remember, at that particular time, rap hip hop was it was super regional. So, you in St. Louis, I'm in South Carolina at the time. I mean, they were literally just songs to me. So they were dope songs, but I didn't really understand the impact until I got to college at South Carolina State University and, started hanging around some cats from New York. And they was like, nah, this is serious. Like, and this is the 90s. So a whole decade had passed and they still had feelings about it.
Like super amount of like.
So yeah, I have to check the comments, man. I'm sure it's
funny, man, and it's good conversation. It's not like nobody's been disrespectful or anything. It's just funny, like Karis once set him up like this whole time, like dang.
Well, you know what the thing I always say, man. If Shan had ignored him, we would never know who KRS-One was.
I mean, we see Shan out here. I don't know if you saw since the last episode. He was
Yeah,
out
I
here.
saw it. I saw Shan, man. Come
So
on, Shan.
things ain't changed too much.
No. Shan still, he still maintained he won, which I mean, I guess, I guess,
Yeah, I
if you
guess.
say so. But I mean,
So
hell, Modi still thinks he beat LL. So
yeah, which is I don't know which one's more egregious for them to think.
Shan.
Yeah, yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
Modi has some smokers, but I mean, LL just he wasn't touching LL, man.
yeah, and more of the thing. I guess the actual song that killed you is actually fully dissing you. Like the LL disses, you'd have to know hip hop. Like
Mm-hmm.
explicitly understanding, knowing Mama say knock you out, like Break of Dawn and stuff
Right.
like that, to
Oh,
know who
no
he's
doubt.
talking about.
No doubt.
Or what's the or Jack the Ripper, stuff like that,
Jack the Ripper.
to know who he's talking about. But
Mm-hmm.
with the bridges over, you don't have to know rap
No.
to know.
He called him. And people got to understand too, at that time, it wasn't a lot of people getting called out by name,
No.
And KRS-One called out their whole crew. So
Shit.
yeah, man.
And it felt like it was KRS-One versus like 30 cats. That's the
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah. And they couldn't handle him. You know what I mean? Like it was just, and even to this day, I love hearing KRS-One talk about it because, like, the way he talks and everything it is just so funny to me, man. But I mean, it was some serious. I mean, like, it was some fights that happened back in the day. I don't think anybody got shot, but I mean, hell, we would have
No,
known
I
because
don't even think it got physical. I mean, maybe at the Latin
oh, trust me,
Quarter,
it was fights. I do know that
yeah,
there were fights in clubs between
some Latin
Queens and
Quarter scuffles.
oh yeah, between Queens and the Bronx. Yeah, there was definitely some fights, no doubt. Because the thing that, and from going to New York and being in New York at at different times in life, those boroughs, people from each borough, they take their borough seriously. Like, you might be from the Bronx, you might not even can't stand the Bronx, but you're not gonna let nobody talk bad about the Bronx. That's just not gonna
And look,
happen.
and the funny thing is, you probably ain't even been to the Bronx.
Right.
Ain't even
So
visit that other borough, because that's a whole nother thing of like they don't even
exactly, yeah.
visit
And
those boroughs.
there's a cross section of people who don't leave their borough. So
Mhm.
so yeah, it's yeah, New York is different. It's a special place, man, for real.
Yeah, my man. But like we said, thank y'all
But yeah,
for
keep the
listening.
comments coming. Keep the
Yeah,
comments coming. We
yeah, and hit
appreciate
us
it.
on the voicemail 314-649-3113 and give us your thoughts and discussions on any of these episodes. And
Mm-hmm.
so the next one up, what if the illustrious Detox came out,
Yes.
announced around 2002, Dr. Dre's final concept album, he claimed it, a planned hip hop musical, Detox became the most mythological unreleased album in music history. After years of delays, leaks, and scrap iterations, Dre officially shelved it in 2015 when he decided to release Compton in 2015. Uh, with this mythical album was supposed to come out between '04, it was '04, '05 supposed to come out. Then again in 2010, 2011, it was another push for it, and there was
Mm-hmm.
leaks and all kind of things throughout that era. But let's start here though, Kyle. What if Dr. Dre dropped Detox? Let's start first with, what do you remember about the hubbub abound Detox back then, like historically? Like, what do you remember like hearing in around the water coolers, they say?
It was supposed to be the best album. I mean, from what we were told that Dre had been working on this album for the better part of 2 years or maybe even 3 years. Like, he had locked himself into his house and in the studio and wasn't like doing anything else but working on this album. And then we started hearing, and you got to remember too, folks, we really didn't have I mean, the internet was a thing, but we weren't on the internet like that at that particular time. And we started hearing rumblings about, guest features and who's going to be on it and this and that. And granted, we had already had the Chronic, right? So, but we were told that this was going to be better than the Chronic, like 10 times better than the Chronic, which was crazy because at that time the Chronic was a groundbreaking album. And so the hype was just there, D. I mean, like, everybody was waiting on this album. And so every hip hop purist, every hip hop commentator, in Source magazine, they talked about it. Like, is this going to be the year that we get the that album Detox? and it never happened. It never happened. And I think as the years went on, as fans, the anticipation, or anytime somebody would mention that the possibility that the album was coming, we got hyped up about it. And so I think what happened was they took a concept of an album and blew it up, and it became a big mystery. And then it went from becoming a mystery to something that that we may or may not see. And then it became like a running joke. Like, yeah, you'll get this. You know, chicks would be like, yeah, I'll give you some. You know, as soon as Detox comes out. You know what I mean? So Detox became like a running joke. So it was, but it was because of the love and the reverence for Dre and everything. But it was definitely propelled by the streets hype machine, because again, we didn't have the internet, but the streets had it hyped up, man, and we were waiting for it, and it just never came out.
Because it was gonna have East Coast people, Midwest people, South. It's just to give people some references here of these are some of the tracks that were released or leaked that were supposed to be on Detox, just to give everybody a framework before we go into the what if. Kush was Snoop Dogg featuring Akon that came out in 2010. I Need a Doctor featuring Eminem that came out in 2011. Under Pressure with Jay-Z that came out in 2010. Topless with Nas and T.I. and Eminem that came out in 2010. Die Hard featuring Eminem that came out in 2011. Popped Off, Shit Popped Off, or / Shit Popped Off featuring T.I. Here We Go Again featuring The Game. And It Could Have Been You featuring Nas, R. Kelly, and Bishop Lamont in 2009. So then there's a whole nother section of beats that got repurposed for other rappers.
Talk about it.
So versus In the Club was supposed to be on Detox. The Recipe from Kendrick Lamar.
Was
supposed to be on
Detox. Crazy.
Throwback from Usher was from Just Blaze production was supposed to be on Detox. Those are the big ones. Think about that, y'all. Those are 3 certified banging songs. In the Club, The Recipe, which is Kendrick Lamar's foray into the mainstream. This is before swimming pools. It was The Recipe is what I heard first. Because the first time I heard
was like a B-side on Good Kid, Mad City.
Yeah, but it was the first technical single. It was before Swimming Pools.
Yeah. Oh, no doubt.
Where Dre's on there is like smoking weed with
you. I love that song, man.
And do you remember the show Ridiculousness?
Yeah.
So man, I always tell them, like, first time I heard of Kendrick Lamar, I saw him on some things and maybe heard it, but I was at a young lady's house in 2011, and I woke up and she was cooking. And it was playing in the background. I woke up and I was like, yo, what is this? It was Kendrick Lamar performing The Recipe.
Wow. So you had never heard Section 80 before that?
I heard some of those, but I mean, like, where I was like,
okay,
the thing that I'd heard, but I didn't know who he was. Like,
you didn't know who he was. Okay.
Like what he looked like. I hadn't associated the face with the music necessarily.
Gotcha.
And I run out and I'm like, oh, that's Kendrick Lamar. Ever since then, I went back to the crib. I went to get Section 80. I'm talking literally immediately. Got that and the joint before that. Immediately just downloaded both of them.
Overly dedicated. Shout out to K-Dot.
Overly dedicated. Immediately got it. But The Recipe was that beat. So think about that was supposed to be on Detox.
That's crazy.
In the club, Kyle.
You know what? I heard this, and I'm sure people in the comments can correct me if I'm incorrect, but I heard that there were several beats that ended up on Get Rich or Die Trying that were supposed to be on Detox. In the Club was one. Heat was one. Patiently Waiting was another one. These were supposed to be on Detox, and Dre scrapped them. And Game was allegedly like, "Hey man, 50 was like, let me get that beat." And I don't know how true that is. Maybe somebody can confirm it, because here's the thing: we always got different perspectives as to maybe that beat was because it's a Dre beat. We're assuming that maybe it was coming from Detox. But yeah, I mean, like you said, In the Club, that was a huge single, obviously, for 50 and Dre, and for that just imagine In the Club being a lead single for Dre coming out, releasing that album. That would have been crazy. But Man, you name
Okay.
some
So
smokers,
I
man.
even got more, Kyle. I got some more for you. I'm in the
Go
Google.
ahead.
I
Go
found
ahead.
some more. Crack a Bottle, Eminem
I
on
remember
featuring
that.
Dre and 50 Cent was supposed to be
Mm-hmm.
on Detox. New Day, 50 Cent featuring Dr. Dre and Alicia Keys was supposed to be on there.
Okay.
Higher from the Game
Game,
was
yeah.
supposed to be on
Mm-hmm.
Detox.
Mm-hmm.
Compton, Kendrick Lamar featuring Dre was supposed to be
Yep.
on Detox. And West Side Story slash This Is How We Do
Game.
from the Game were originally supposed to be on Detox.
I can believe that. I can definitely believe that. I mean, like, This Is How We Do. Man, come on. Yeah, Drake. So what we're saying is, folks, is that there were several iterations of what we thought could have been Detox. And for whatever reason, it just never came out. And if these beats were truly meant for Detox, Dre probably could have had the album, the album of the century.
Yeah, no, literally.
Easy.
I mean, we name singles that are big hits and even like underground tracks that people love
Mm-hmm.
in this in
And just
these.
listen to all the rappers you name: Game, 50, Nas, Eminem. I mean, just to name a few, K Dot. I mean,
Yeah,
like Ti. Those are heavy hitters, man. I mean, like, so you put all of them on one album because we know Dre ain't rapping like that. But even if he
no,
did get on there and rap a little bit, it's still, man, that album would have been out of here and just never came out for whatever
yeah.
reason.
So, what do you think if Dre dropped Detox? What do you think? How do you think things could have changed? How did it have been different? Because
I
I
think,
guess his excuse is that Compton was his Detox, but
well,
I think he
yes
got
and no.
backdoored into Compton, not backdoored
Well,
into it, but saw the success of the movie and was like, I
yeah. I
got
mean,
about,
Compton was the soundtrack to the movie,
yeah,
basically,
I got
the
20
straight out of
songs
Compton
laying
movie.
around. I got 20
Yeah,
beats laying around. Let me go and get some couple
yeah,
of people and
yeah. So I
put this
mean,
out.
so yeah. But to answer your question, I think if Detox had come out when it was supposed to, or in either version of the iteration that we talked about, I think what happens is Dre further cements the West Coast because we can all admit that the West Coast. I hate using the term fell off, but it wasn't as prominent as it was. There was a
It went
lull,
into a dry
basically.
spell. It
Yeah,
went
there
into
was
a
a
dry
dry
spell.
spell for the West Coast, and when a cat like the Game came out, he helped revive it. And I mean, at one point in time, you can make a case that he was literally carrying the West Coast on his back. Um, and then subsequently, you had the Kendricks, the YGs, the Nipsey Hustles, so forth and so on. But yeah, I think if Dre drops Detox in either one of those windows that you named, I think ultimately the West, stays relevant. Not that they were ever irrelevant, but I think they hold fort as far as hip hop is concerned, because I think that album would have carried them. And then who knows, at that time, I'm not really sure where Snoop was contractually. He may have still been with No Limit, but
Oh no. In '02, I mean, after '02, he was done with them because remember, Last Meal
okay,
came out in
okay,
'02.
okay. Thank you,
So
because
he would
I
have been,
always get it confused.
yeah, but he was on Star Trek around this time.
Okay,
'Cause
so
remember, he was the brief spell where he was on Star Trek with Pharrell and them for like an
for
album
real,
or two.
yeah.
This is around
Um,
that time slash him kind of going more independent, or
okay.
not independent, but not like just Snoop on priority or whatever.
But either way, I think ultimately, if that album comes out, you get Dre, you get the West Coast putting their stamp in hip hop again, and they're gonna stay there for a while because that album, even just based off of what you just said, that album is gonna carry the West for a while, not
Yeah.
just a couple of months. I'm talking about for the better part of a couple of years, particularly if he's able to bring more people in and they tour on it and stuff like that. So yeah, I think that's what would have happened. Like you said, for whatever reason, and we've never really got a full answer from Dre as to why the album never came out. But if it
What is
had
your
been
opinion?
released,
What do you think? What do you think? Why do you think it didn't come out, Kyle?
I think Dre is such a perfectionist.
I was just
I
gonna,
mean,
yep,
like,
I
if you
back you in.
listen, and I'm a fan of his music, and even if you listen to something like Still Dre, like Still Dre, still it is a banging ass song. I know he had Scott Storch with him and everything like that as far as on the piano. Um, and Jay-Z wrote it, obviously, which was crazy to me that Jay-Z wrote that song.
Yeah, it still
Um,
doesn't make sense to how. I mean, and I actually, I get that you got to give him a tribute to Jay's pen that
oh,
you
no
couldn't
doubt, no
tell
doubt.
that
But I
it was
mean,
great.
I was a little disappointed that Snoop let him write because I mean, we from the era where you don't let nobody write your rhymes, but that's a whole
Well,
nother story.
suppose he wrote the hook. That's the claim that he wrote the hook.
Snoop
In
didn't
Dre's
write
version,
anything,
yeah,
so
Dre didn't.
I. But I think if that album comes out, I think Dre, I think just him being a perfectionist, and I think that's what probably took as long as it did. And maybe he got a little frustrated during the process and what have you. You remember when Rakim was on, Dre's label,
Mm-hmm.
and Rakim has said in interviews that they had creative differences, and I think Rakim probably is a perfectionist, but maybe not to the level of Dre. And so Dre wants it super he wants it tightened up and buttoned up in a certain way. And I think that's probably just what got because you think he had the label, so it wasn't like the parent company was on his back about putting the album out. Um, and he's not at this point he's not an up and coming artist, so it's not like they're pushing him into the studio to get it done. But Dre is from what we've heard, it could take him. He's not the type that's gonna do a song and be done with the song in a day. Like it could take months, it could
No,
take years. And his throwaway stuff is stuff that most people would kill for. So
but
ultimately
it's also deficiency because it's a paralysis by analysis though too, Dre. Like
mhm.
at some point you got to put this stuff out.
That's
Or-
easier said than done for particularly
Right,
for
but at
people
some
like
point
me and you who
you can't
don't make music.
overanalyze it. Where
But like
unless you
I
want to keep it for yourself, and that's fine.
yeah,
But you know if you then that's fine. But if you're saying like I do want to put this out, at some point you gotta let the baby go.
yeah, but for people like that, the one thing I do know about them
Artist.
is that they're these super creatives like that. A lot of times they will hold on to stuff because the snare ain't right, or I could tweak it a little bit more. And to the average listener, they're thinking, okay, man, this is done, this is ready, it's ready to go. And he's like, nah, I gotta change it. I don't, and those type of things, in my opinion, probably keep artists and producers like Dre up at night. Wherein me and you would be like, all right, man, it sounds dope, put it out. Um,
Let's just run it.
yeah, and I think that's ultimately, the thing that kept it from coming out when we thought it would. So,
So so if we looked at hip hop now, would Dre so because at that time, if I remember correctly, this is mid 2000s is supposed to come out. So
mhm.
you're really getting the more. I mean, does it? I mean, low key. Does I want to say it? Does it? It kind of we and I'm thinking about this. I'm thinking all the producers that are big then. Just Blaze, Kanye,
Kanye,
Swiss is still holding on. Timbaland's doing a
probably
little
Pete
kind of
Rock. Yeah,
stuff.
yeah, definitely Timbo, Pete Rock
Pete Rock. Premier's always gonna be around, but I mean maybe not on the
for sure,
mainstream tip, but he's always
for
gonna be
sure.
around with some joints. But I'm thinking about on that level, does it end up stagnating this? I'm just wondering, do we if this detox come out, this if Dre was freely more of my question is if Dre freely brought out detox, will we then potentially have gotten the Rakim because he would have let it be open and go? Will we have gotten the Buster Rhymes project, the
Hmm.
Bishop Lamont's, the Hitmen, because he would have able to just get it out and then move to another project.
Right. It is. Excuse me. It's very possible. I think that's very possible. I think uh but something like that had so much hype and so much anticipation, I think if he does finally release it, then yeah, he probably moves a little bit closer to being more receptive to putting out more music. And then there's also a more demand for his services, obviously. There's more demand for him as far as appearances and things of that nature, maybe possibly touring with the album. So it endless possibilities as far as what could have been done. I just think like just the perfectionist in him. I just think Dre, he couldn't let it go. There was something about that album that he couldn't let it go, and he also I'm sure wanted the album to live up to expectations. And wherever our expectations were for this album, his was even higher.
Yeah, and do you think that what artists do you think did like, maybe I wouldn't say benefited, but it hurt their careers potentially with this not being able to come out?
Well, I think
If even if
anybody
any.
that was, yeah, like a Rakim, anybody that was working with Dre at the time, they were definitely stagnating. I remember Eve was on Aftermath too as well.
Yes, that's
Um
right.
so
But that
you
was way
don't get,
before. But still,
yeah, that was before, but I mean, like, even, so Dre had this, obviously the power move from Death Row to Aftermath, and he's starting his own label, and he's out to prove that he can do it again. Chronic 2001 comes out, and so he's still riding the wave of, being Dre, and he's still arguably the best producer in the game. So I think some of the artists whoever would have worked, you mentioned, like, I remember this kid out of Atlanta,
Hitman,
Stat Quo. Stat Quo was
Stat
dope.
Quo.
Stat he
Yeah.
I used to catch him on a lot of Clue tapes, a
That's
lot of
that
mixtape.
Atlanta album. Have you ever heard it? The actual Stat Atlanta?
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
freaking good.
Man, listen, Stat Quo was, I mean, amazing. But another one that kind of got caught up in that shuffle with Dre and the label and stuff. So, um,
Bishop
and
Lamont
even,
was my guy, man, back then.
yeah,
I like
and I
Bishop
mean,
Lamont.
like, if you think about it, M50, they were able to still thrive without, I mean, they got production from Dre, but it wasn't like he was in the studio with them every day.
Right.
So they're probably, honestly, D is probably more artists than we can even think of that may have benefited. I'm not gonna say they were stagnated by his uh unwillingness to release this album, but it probably did. It would have helped. It would have
Yeah,
helped
because I
quite a
would have
few
been
of
a
them.
feature Bishop Lamont. I would have
Oh,
been a feature on this album. Hitman. Do you remember when he had Last Emperor on his label?
yes, yes, I
Last
remember that.
Emperor. I mean, Busta Rhymes, I believe, came over later. But even still, then, if you still have conversations, he's on there. It's just so much within it.
Yeah, it was a lot of
Like you said, the
possibilities
West,
for.
the
Yeah, there's a lot
West
of
being pulled
possibilities.
back is it. That's it.
Hmm.
And does it
Yeah,
does it and on the flip side of this, and this is a question to you, do you think that this album could have connected regions more as well?
most definitely, because, like you said, the anticipation was that it was going to be not just artists from the West Coast, but artists from the East Coast, South, Midwest. So Dre was going to have it was going to be the ultimate compilation where, um, you know, the Chronic was a compilation. People don't call it a compilation, but it was a compilation because, the MCs that were on it. But the flip side of it is that, but it was just all West Coast. You know what I'm saying? But you get a chance to, especially after the deaths of Big and Pac, and it's not like the East Coast West Coast beef was happening at the time, but you get this big unified push at that particular time. If you get Dre, if this album comes out and it's like what we heard that it would be or could be. Um, so yeah, I could definitely see him bridging, you know, hip hop together with all of these artists from different parts of the country.
So it's a question I have here. Do you think that basically could Compton be Detox in disguise?
No, because I think Compton, and Compton's a really, really dope album. I
Yeah.
listened to it probably about 2 or 3 months ago. Um, but it's the movie is fit for I mean, excuse me, the album is fit for the movie. Um, there's a couple of joints in there where where they play it during the movie, but I mean, I mean, it's still a banger. It
Hmm.
could it have been Detox? It could have been, but I think when they came with the idea, the concept of releasing Straight Outta Compton as a movie, that was enough. That right there was the perfect, out for him to be like, all right, I got to work on the soundtrack. I'm gonna keep Detox over here or what have you. And then honestly, I think it got to a point, Dan. You correct me if I'm wrong. I think it got to a point where people stopped, as far as industry people, stopped asking him about it, at least
Yeah.
publicly.
Because that would be a thing. I think that would even be in questions. You'd be like, don't ask about Detox.
Right, right. And and it wasn't like Dre did a whole bunch of media. And I mean, like, you couldn't catch Dre on 106 in Park and stuff like that, or Rap City. So it wasn't like, he don't really come out the house like that, at least, publicly to do stuff in the industry. It's more, work. That's what Dre does. That's what he's known for, and rightfully so. But no, I would love for somebody to have asked them that, but I mean, like I said, we don't see him that often in the street. So, but it got to a point where people just stop asking, and with his close relationship with Jimmy Iovine, um, there wasn't going to be any push from the label from Interscope, with Jimmy being at the top of Interscope. Jimmy wasn't going to push him to make that album. He could ask Dre for an album, but he wasn't going to push Dre for that album.
Yeah, and we just never know when it comes to Dre, because Dre could have been. I just always wonder if he just kind of. I wonder if it's the machine we got behind Detox being something crazy, and we put our expectations too much up for Dre, of saying like, oh man, Dre said he gonna do something called Detox, it's supposed to be crazy, and then artists going in and maybe hearing the beats though too and coming out, be like, yo, I'm on this joint called Topless. It's me, T.I. and Eminem on it. This Nas telling people, and they're like, word, really, dog, it's crazy.
Right.
And then it just kind of becomes its own urban legend over time, where people are just talking about it on, that level with that.
I think that definitely happened.
Do you think which era of that would have been better coming out? That 05 to 07? Because it was the two periods that it was supposed to come out and was going to be, go to my notes here. Was
I don't know that 05.
2004 and 2005 was the first original time people thought.
Okay.
Then they picked back up again 2010, 2011. Which one do you think would have had the better peak of, like, people would be like, oh, this is perfect timing?
I think 04, 05 would have been. I mean, it could have worked in either window, but I think that 05, 04 era, because at that point in time, like I said, just to give you an idea, like 50 comes out in 03, right? So at that particular time, the label is hot. It's hot, and M is doing his thing. You got 50, and so I think that would, even though they don't represent West Coast, again, going back to my earlier point, I think if that album comes out at that particular time, the West Coast is back and they're up for a while. And then, subsequently the Game comes out in a couple of years after that, and they can ride that wave. Let's just assuming that this album is everything that we heard it was going to be. So yeah, I think that would have been the perfect. Yeah, that would have been a perfect storm. Perfect storm.
I'm thinking about that crunk era was coming in around then though. You might have wanted to get out the way. Or
maybe not.
Stop that, because like you got to think that's the Scrappies,
right?
The Trillvilles, the
right.
Crime Mobs, then we got Snapping coming in right around that time too with Franchise Boys. I'm just saying like the popular sounds.
Well, well, here's the thing: if you got you could have that.
It's stagnated Game, though, dog. Game would have been stagnated.
Well, no doubt. And
I mean, we listed like 4 of the beats, though. It's gonna be
right, exactly. So, I mean, like that Snap era would have been fine, but what they would have been able to say is, over here, we're rapping. No disrespect to them, they're snapping, we rapping. And I mean, again,
they start getting some crunk in your system.
Yeah, I mean, like
we rapping.
Yeah, we over here rapping. We got bars. Like I said,
that's who would be stagnated though. The Game is the only one that benefited off of Detox not coming out.
Yeah, especially if I would say him and 50. If the rumors are true that
because in the club would have been on Detox, not him.
Would have been on But I mean, at that time, I mean, there wasn't anybody hotter than 50 in 03. So 50 could have been he could have come out to
Dre had already gave him that beat. He was already his though, but if 04 would have came out, I mean, you got it. In the club,
you think about it, 50 had, when he came before the album dropped, he had Wankster. Yep, I think that was on that was like on a mixtape, and it was doing numbers, radio number. It was getting major radio spins off of mixtape, So yeah, it was. I think it would have been okay, but again, going back to the point, I think if that happens, then at the very least you can say, okay, well, hey, we're rapping over here. No disrespect to what they got going over there, in the South, but we're rapping over here, and we got the hottest album and arguably the greatest
That
producer
Houston
ever.
sound too start popping then too.
Yeah, listen,
That-
I don't think it was gonna drown out anybody's sound, but I think the
Yeah.
thing that we have to keep in mind is that, again, this is arguably the greatest producer at worst, top 5 producer.
Yes.
And then
yes.
you drop this, and let's say this album is better than the Chronic. He's the greatest of all time at this point. And I don't know that you can debate it if this album holds true to what we believe that it would be.
Yeah, because it's, I mean, yeah, if you think, I mean, if you, like I said, the game, maybe he wouldn't have suffered. Maybe because
and you know what? He may not suffer because he's in at this point.
He's in that ecosystem then.
Yeah, exactly. He's in that camp. You know, I mean, he's down with 50's down with Dre, Eminem. I mean, like that's a big 3 right there. Dr. Dre,
I mean,
Eminem, and 50.
At some point, we have to do the what if the game stayed with G Unit? At some point, because that's a whole that's a whole big onion to peel.
Yeah, man.
Because that's a lot with that one.
Yeah, for sure.
But it's interesting you saying that that because I'm just thinking now back then, 04, 05. Yeah, it would have been. It was that was a great window.
Mm-hmm.
Because there was it. Because I remember Jay was doing his thing, getting his run. You know, that time, Jay is kind of somewhat. Was supposed to be retired at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Because the Black Album is supposed to be retirement. I mean, he didn't drop another album until Kingdom Come.
Yeah. With that show, what you got?
Yeah, that's like 07, something like that. So he took like 3 years.
Right.
Which is like forever in that time.
He should have stopped right there. If he would have stopped at the Black Album, it would have been like Jordan winning against Utah. That's 6 ring.
This is an interesting conversation. You didn't bring it. So you think that's the last good Jay album? Is the Black Album?
No. Okay. Let me preface my comment because you're
talking about that album, Kingdom Come, in general.
Yeah, well, I have a theory or a thought on that. There's no bigger Jay-Z fan than me. Period. Hard stop. That being said, personally, I don't think he's made a great album since American Gangster.
Okay.
Unpopular opinion. Everybody loves 444. I don't think that's a good album at all. I think it may be 3 tracks on it that are good. Magna Carta, Holy Grail, trash.
Oh, yeah. Like, don't even.
444, mid at best. But I think American Gangster was dope. I think that was probably his last. I'm sure that was his last full mic album. Everything else, trash. Just can't get. And it pains me to say. And here's the thing. And it's funny, D, because we were just having this argument in my group chat yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
We were arguing about Jay-Z and Nas, and one of the homies, I ain't even bring it up. One of the homies said, with this last 6 album run and this album with Primo, you know, there's no comparison with Jay-Z and Nas anymore.
I agree.
And I mean, like, if Nas put out an album tomorrow, I'm listening. If Jay-Z put out an album tomorrow, and it pains me to say this, I'll get to it.
Got the trump card, though, of all trump cards.
Yeah, and I mean, like,
that's wifey.
Well, I mean, even beyond that, his old stuff. I mean, like the stuff that, of course, at the time of this recording, he just did the 3 concerts in Yankee Stadium. Loved it. I didn't go, obviously, but you know, from what I heard and everything. I mean, and he has an extensive catalog. Most people can't even do 3 nights worth of catalog and not repeat any songs. That being said, I mean, like that's a testament. Shout out to our boy Eclectic. He mentioned this on his podcast. Like in those concerts, they're albums that, I mean, there's songs from those albums in the middle. He didn't do any songs from them. You know why? Because those songs aren't good. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, I that's my thing on Jay-Z and Nas. Oh, excuse me, that's my thing on Jay-Z.
Do you think now, since we're talking about Dre,
Mhm.
could have, and we talk, and similar, but it probably wouldn't happen because we know how Dre is. Could a Dre Jay-Z album work out a similar fashion of the Nas Premier album type of feel, or would that
Yeah.
not work? And Premier works because he's kind of he's been working with him, but I mean,
Mhm.
Dre's been working with Jay too, so I mean, I
Oh,
can't
no doubt,
say
no
that.
doubt. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think if they got in and locked in, I think they could do it. I just don't know if Jay-Z I don't know if Jay-Z just personally has enough dope rhymes for a full album that I would want to listen to. I can't speak for any of y'all. Y'all might and
I
the
mean,
whole
you think
Vengers.
you think a dope, like, you think his in this what if situation, him and Dre, a 6 song
Mhm.
EP would be doper for
Oh
him to
no.
do?
I it, I don't think ego will allow them to make just 6 songs. I think you getting a 14-song album,
Okay.
but I think at the end of the day, and again, it's just something personal. Now, again, there's probably some whole Vengers in the comments. I know they're gonna be attacking me. Hey, I mean no malice. I'm gonna just tell you that right now. Again, there's you whole Vengers. I'm a bigger fan of Jay-Z than y'all, but in me being a fan, I have to critique him. I'm gonna state the obvious.
Mhm.
He ain't been dope since he got married and had kids. It happens. It had D and I are married. Maybe we ain't as dope
Yeah.
as we used to
No,
be
no, no,
before
no,
we
no, no,
had
no.
kids.
What's so funny you say that? Nas got better after he got divorced. Them albums when he was
Exactly.
released were his best
Exactly.
Nas albums.
Exactly. He got rid
That's
of her.
messed up.
Hey,
I didn't even.
hey, listen. The moral of the story is stay single, fellas.
Well, no,
If you're trying to
I mean, if you're
rap,
gonna be a rapper and you're gonna be, if you want
if
to,
you're gonna be a rapper, stay
maybe
single.
your lyrics are hungrier. I don't know.
Yeah,
At
man.
least in this scenario, because
And yeah,
there's a whole bunch of great rappers that
of
are
course
married.
we're being facetious because I mean
Yeah.
both of them are. I mean, and Jay-Z's a billionaire, so I mean he's winning he's winning in life, regardless of whether or not what you think about his politics, his dealing with the NFL, all of that other stuff. When it comes to rapping, there are very few who are better, and I say that. But again, personally, I haven't enjoyed. I don't think he's made a good album since American Gangster.
So do
But
you
that
think
bit,
that if they locked in and did an album together?
oh, yeah, it'd be cold. It'd be cold. It'd be cold. And I think but the thing is, how long is that going to take?
I mean,
Because
they just did the Dre Snoop album, and I mean it was okay. I mean,
yeah, it was decent. It was decent. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed probably about five tracks off that album.
and maybe I think the problem with that, it felt too polished.
Yeah, and that's the thing that can happen too. You can overproduce an album.
Yeah, so it's like
Um,
you got 15 different symbols going off. Doom,
yeah,
it's like,
yeah.
okay,
I
like
mean,
it's
like
dope, but like, damn, we on track 10, and I got too much going on. I just need a beat.
exactly. You about to tap out,
Yeah.
and it's like I said that was one of my criticisms of Kanye as far as his production. He got to a point where he would get mainly toward the end of the song, and it's like, okay, let me show y'all how dope I am. And so he's going, and so he extends the song another minute. And it's like, bro, I don't need a minute of your instrumental. You just we know you dope, dog. We here for you. you know, but yeah, I think I there are very few people who can do. I think it's amazing to come in and lock in with one producer. That doesn't happen. I mean, so and my point in my group chat was, for Nas and Hit Boy not only to do that and be successful
And
for
this
one
six
album,
projects,
six albums,
six
and there
albums
was
in
no
what,
fall off. You know what I
3 year
mean?
period,
So
in a 3 year period, right? 6 albums, 3 year
yeah,
period.
yeah, it's 3 or 4 years or something like that. So yeah, so that's hard to do. So would I expect could it be done? Of course, it could be done. I don't know, because I think Jay-Z loves working with the Pharrells and the Timbalands and people like that. I don't know that he's ever going to work with Kanye again, but I don't know if he'll ever just lock in with just one producer. But I think if he could do it with anybody and he did it with Dre, I think it'd be cold.
Yeah, those one of those things with Dre, like we won't get a Detox. They'll go to do this album, and it will never come out. One of them will have to
Mm-mm.
pass away for us to get
Never, ever, ever.
somebody to leak the tracks.
Right.
And it's the whole idea of Detox overall, and we're never going to get this, folks. Hopefully, I mean, maybe we get more leaks. That's the
That's
best we
about
can
it.
hope.
That's or we'll get songs and we can say, oh well, yeah, we think this one would have been on Detox. But at this point, just based off the numbers that you read off, I can only assume that all of the beats that were made for Detox
Already been gone.
have probably been gone, or they'll never see the light of day.
Yeah, I don't think we'll ever see it. You know, it's just one of those. When it comes to Detox, we won't get it. And this is one of those what ifs that we all, you know, wish we could have gotten it. But I mean, it is what it is. Hip hop. It got pushed forward regardless.
For sure.
Yeah. So yeah, Kyle, let everybody know where they can hit you up at. Where can they check out some more of your stuff?
Oh, definitely check me out. I got 2 podcasts. The Rap Soul podcast, where I talk about rap, soul music from the 80s, 90s, and the 2000s. Check out the website, therapsoulpodcast.riverside.com. And my personal podcast, the 12 Kyle podcast, the 12 Kyle podcast.riverside.com is where you can find it. And from there, you can get to all streaming platforms and drop new episodes on both podcast platforms every Thursday. So check me out.
Yeah, man. And make sure y'all can hit us up, hiphopwhatifs@gmail.com, or hit us in the comments. Once again, you could also shoot us a voicemail. We always appreciate those. 314-649-3113. And man, like, any thoughts on that, hit us up. Let us know what y'all think, or any what ifs y'all want us to do. We got some in the pipeline, and we will see y'all soon. Peace.
What if DOC never got into that car accident? What if Ice Cube didn't leave NWA? What if the game never leaves G Unit? What if Teddy Riley never moves to Virginia? What if we got that J. Cole and Kendrick album? What if the RZA would have never had that flood? How would the hip-hop world sound today? Welcome to Hip Hop What Ifs, the podcast where we dive into the biggest what could have beens in hip-hop history. From iconic album delays to game-changing partnerships that never happened, we reimagine the culture we love and explore its alternative paths. And you are now at